Good day, 'tis I, Lord Pendlepants, and if you're wondering why I've called myself that, well, it's because I keep on making Jeff Sharp have to change his. Right, if you are a member of iRacing and you would like to get involved, then do follow that Discord link down below. The more eagle-eyed will spot that there's now a slash in that link, and there wasn't before. Well, that's because I got it wrong before. This one is correct, so come and join us. Thank you very much to Will Thomas, by the way, for pointing that one out for me. But yeah, for now, we will crack on with the last highlights of the season. Well, hello and welcome to the final 2 rounds of the season. We are at Daytona Oval in the Nascar XFinity series. Yep, that's right, we are truly in the Love Thy Family part of the world. Right then, on to the starting order. Dan Slattery returns to form this week by claiming yet another pole position, with Anthony Tuggy Marriott returning to the series for the first time since the early rounds, comes in second. Third row of the grid is made up of arch nemesises Jeff Sharp and Lord Pendlebury. Wonder if anything there is going to happen tonight. Third row of the grid is made up of Jamie Nicholson and Chris Palmer. Chris Hulse is then partnered with Brian Dodd, with Paul Nicholson and Steve Everson rounding out the top 10. Axel Edwards then starts in 11th, with Josh Morris in 12th. Less said about Ricky Worrell's qualifying session, the better, but I will say this, it was crap. He starts last. Right, well, they are on their way to the grid. The big things to look out for: Lord Pendlebury and Will Thomas. Will Thomas not able to take part in this first race, but there's only 1 point separating them for third in the championship, and they could still catch up with Jeff Sharp if he has a poor night. The other major battle to get rectified is Paul Nicholson, Axel Edwards and Brian Dodd. They are battling out for 9th, 10th and 11th in the championship. We also expect Anthony Tuggy Marriott to be making some moves with that promising qualifying session. But yeah, that's all the background knowledge we need before we embark on these races. So yeah, let's crack on. Now, we're expecting the pace car to peel off any second as they round turn 4. There it goes, with some top-notch physics to go along with it. Slattery drops the hammer. They are all well on their way now. See if there's any early action, although looks like we've got a few people that have dropped off the back there. Ricky Worrell has made great strides on that start. I completely missed that, so I feel like we're going to have to go back and take a look at that. We have got Axel, Chris Hulse and Paul Nicholson all dropped off the back of the pack here. Early doors, they'll be hoping for an early safety car. Jesus Christ, this is loud through my headphones. Wow, that's lap 1 in the book. Let's go and take a look at that start. Now, jumping on board with Worrell there, you can see he gets a mega jump on, well, everyone, essentially there. Up into 4th gear, looks up the inside of Brian Dodd as well. 13th to 8th place, a fantastic job there. Then moves up to the outside line behind Lord Pendlebury. Back to the live action then. Got 2 lines, line of 4 up on the top, line of 5 or 6 on the bottom. Edwards looking to try and join that line as well. Morris backs the upper line. Looks like that top line has got a bit of a run there. Pendlebury and Marriott come down. Worrell hung out to dry there. Continued his good start up to 4th, but yeah, he's not going to be going anywhere fast. Nobody there supporting him. Oh, bit of moving around in the background there. Not particularly well grouped at the moment. They don't want to drop too far off, otherwise they could lose that toe. We've gone a few laps here, and we've got a promising line emerging on the top. Pendlebury, Marriott, well the Marriott line have been holding their own well, but we've got a combination of Sharp, Slattery and Worrell up high at the moment, and whilst they're not there at the moment, these three are seasoned racers. They may well be able to start building up a head of steam. Well, you can see here that line is progressing. They've had Paul Nicholson also join them almost side by side. Well, they are now side by side with Marriott there. And we're looking to pull far enough ahead to drop down. Worrell will surely be worried that he's going to be left once more to fend for himself. Looks like the inside line is fighting back though. Oh, bit of wobbling. Oh, they've wrecked. I think a lot of people caught up in that. I tell you what, they are all over the place. That is a particularly mangled Jamie Nicholson there. Yellow flags waving though, and whilst they get themselves sorted, let's go and see what happened. Now we jump up to the blimp then. Looks like Pendlebury and Worrell get a little bit close, but Slattery turns, clips Pendlebury, but more importantly clips everybody behind. One of our pit lane cameras was ideally placed. Can see it all unfolding here. You can see there, oh, Steve Everson gets sent through his own arse. There's Worrell, the person who you could say initiated the entire thing. Well, lights now out on the safety car. We've had to jump forward a fair way. It was a lengthy delay there. I think everyone barring Sharp and Marriott pitting for repairs there. Pace car peels in. They will be ready to go once more. And Sharp goes well. Will history repeat itself here though, because we've got the combination of Marriott and Pendlebury up on the top line again. They'll be hoping to recreate what they did earlier in the race. However, they don't have a third driver backing them. Maybe everyone's seen what they did to Worrell and thought, nah, we're not going to help you there. Now, looks like that top line has gained a few supporters now. You got Nicholson, Everson and Jamie Nicholson all up there now, but it's a tight line they've got down at the bottom as well, with Sharp, Slattery, Palmer and Morris. Worrell also very close in behind there, as is Brian Dodd. Chris Hulse perhaps seeing what happened earlier and choosing to wait off the back a little bit there. Not a bad move as we do come into the closing stages. Looks like Pendlebury, oh, some say he, oh, that is, oh, I tell you what, I didn't actually look at the replay after this. That is death to everyone yet again. Yellow flags out again. You can see the lights on the right hand side there. I mean, I don't want to start apportioning blame here without having seen a replay, but it may well have been my error there. Now we jump on board with Jeff Sharp here, his windscreen cam. You can see that Marriott comes down, Pendlebury perhaps trying to follow him there, and well, you can see what happens, and yep, that is Jeff Sharp, well, in different dimensions to his own. Now we look back from Anthony Marriott's viewpoint, and if anything, it looks like Jeff Sharp's moved up on Pendlebury there. I am, of course, joking. My apologies, Jeff, if I can't admit when I'm wrong. then I shouldn't be on commentary. So that was on me. My apologies. And by saying that, that adds more weight to my arguments around Brands Hatch. So, but yeah, my apologies, everybody. That was wholly on yours truly. Well, safety car lights off once more. I have truly instigated an accident there that took out the majority of the field. We've got Chris Hulse still in there, who is absolutely ready. We've got, who's that missing a bonnet? Brian Dodd missing a bonnet there. There's only 6 cars that have taken the green flag there. So many people in the pit lane. That's truly sorry affair here. Now, coming up to the last lap, it truly is a 3-horse race at this point. Looks like Paul Nicholson has moved out early, potentially trying to block Palmer as they both close in on Marriott. Keeping it quite high though, if that is the tactic. Marriott looking so slow in comparison. Palmer fights off Nicholson. He's now got a clear run as they go down the main straight. Up onto the top side he goes. Is he going to get the full car ahead? Will he be able to drop down? Oh, that's Slattery who's come back out. He keeps out of trouble just about. Palmer has dropped down. Nicholson is now ahead of Marriott, but Marriott's coming back at him. It looks like... Oh, I think it was Marriott just about as they crossed the line. Or was it? Wow, looking down in super slow motion down from the blimp, you can see that Marriott has the run on that inside line using the slipstream from Chris Palmer. But it's not quite enough. Nicholson holds on by a very fine margin there. So, yes. Right then, final race classification. Chris Palmer comes home to take his first win of the season. Hearty congratulations to you, Mr. Palmer. Paul Nicholson, as we've just seen, pipping Anthony Marriott to second place by the finest of margins. Chris Hulse and Brian Dodd, the first of the walking wounded, came home 4th and 5th respectively. Jeff Sharp, a lap behind the rest, came home in 6th, with Josh Morris in 7th. We then have those that were still in the pit lane, so Ricky Worrell, Steve Everson and Jamie Nicholson rounded out the points, with Lord Pendlebury and Axel Edwards in 11th and 12th. Dan Slattery, whilst he did make it back out on track, didn't have the time to get back past those guys, so last and 13th place for Mr. Slattery. Now, that was a very eventful first race here at Daytona, so yeah, we will take a very short break and then come back with the highlights for the feature race. Now, ready for race 2 to get underway. If everybody knows if you can get Race Labs to know the order of the grid before it starts, that would be great if they could let me know, because we don't have the graphic showing that at the moment. But yes, reverse grid based on championship position for the feature race, of course, and that puts us with Anthony Marriott on first place. We then have Steve Everson in the pop art themed vehicle in second. The second row of the grid should contain Josh Morris, but sadly he missed the start, so he'll be starting from the pit lane. That means that we have Brian Dodd alongside Axel Edwards. It's then Ricky Worrell with not Steve Nicholson. Who's that? That's Paul Nicholson in the number 70 Camaro there. It's then Chris Hulse with Chris Palmer alongside in the Battle of the Chris's, though I fear for Chris Palmer that it's already been won. Oh, look at that high definition jet juddering its way into land behind them. So at least it's not coming in at the speed of a nuclear missile this time, though. We then have Lord Pendlebury in the number 21 car there. Jamie Nicholson on his outside, with Jeff Sharp and Will Thomas returning to this feature race. Will Thomas will basically just needs to finish ahead of Pendlebury to secure third spot in the championship, and then in his gold, garish, ugly ass Ford Mustang is Dan the Champion Slattery. Now, the race is just about ready to begin. I can't believe I've managed to labour that for so long. So let's stick with this. Different pace car this time round. Rumour has it the Mustang ran out of fuel. Marriott drops the hammer. On board with Axel Edwards. Looking down at Brian Dodd. He's from Texas, don't you know? Potentially not originally, but lives in Texas. Feel free to correct me on this if I am wrong, Brian. Looks like we've got Jeff Sharp and Dan Slattery hanging off the back here. I have to say, it's not a bad plan if chaos rains down upon them. Then it gives them the best chance to avoid that chaos. First lap completed then. No big movers this time round. Taking a look back here at the fastest lap championships. Pendlebury, Worrell, Nicholson of the Jamie variety, Jeff Sharp and Dan Slattery all hanging back there trying to get the best possible runs. Currently with Will Thomas the fastest time. You can see that in the top left graphic, the purple time there for P8 Will Thomas. Currently just ahead of championship rival Lord Pendlebury, doing what he needs to do so far to wrap up that third position. This in his first full championship with us. Coming up to cross the line this time round, who is going to be leading with the fastest lap? Looks like it's gone to Jeff Sharp with a 48.147. Jump forward another lap, they're coming up to the line. Sharp leads the way with the fastest lap so far. He's lost it though. Ricky Worrell in 10th place with a 48.031. Nicholson only 15 hundredths of a second back from him. No, that's not 15 hundredths, is it? That's terrible maths. Never mind. Let's maybe stop trying to do quick maths. It's not a good look on me. Well, I feel like I should check in, considering we're just over the halfway point. Still not much going on. Fastest lap championships. Currently seeing Ricky Worrell with a 46.927 leading the way on that one. As for the big battles in the championship, Paul Nicholson and Brian Dodd looking very pretty at the moment in 3rd and 4th place. That's not good news for Axel Edwards down in 8th. He really needs to be finishing above them if he wants to secure that 9th position in the championship. As for the battle for 3rd place, things have turned around slightly. Lord Pendlebury up to 6th place with Will Thomas in 12th. As it stands, Pendlebury will be going home with that 3rd place in the championship. With just 15 minutes to go, things starting to get a little bit tastier at the front here. People starting to make moves. Oh, Dodd up the road slightly. Oh, and that has taken a fair few people out of the standings. Not sure what happened there. Everson spinning across the infield, or sliding across the infield. But that has brought out the caution flags. Pit crews better get ready, because we're going to have an absolute murder of... it's a murder of crows, isn't it? It's not a murder of XFinity NASCARs, but... well, I'm not sure what a group of cars are called, really. Traffic. Well, slow-mo from the blimp. Can always see what goes on here. Now, keep an eye on the front three. Brian Dodd down at the bottom there. Got Ricky Worrell up top, number 13 car. Dodd just gets high, nudges him slightly, then gets onto the apron. That sends him into Pendlebury and Everson. Then we get Will Thomas into the back of Pendlebury. Nicholson of the Jamie variety also getting involved there. Well, that will certainly shake things up once we come out of the pit stops. Now, God knows why I insist on trying to maintain coverage of the pit stops, but let's take a look and see what happens. So, take a look at the top left-hand corner. Marriott, Palmer, Worrell, Nicholson and Dodd are the top 5. All comes down to the pit crews now. How quick will they be? There's Marriott in the foreground. Now, who's going to be first to go? Marriott taking tyres. There's definitely a few people taking tyres here. As Edwards, a late arrival, into his pit box. We've got Paul Nicholson out the front. Pendlebury inside him. Looks like Nicholson does retain, or retained. Nicholson takes the lead. Does very well there. They're all coming out. So yeah, Nicholson and Pendlebury moved up a fair bit in that. Marriott and Palmer dropping down. Main reason I imagine for that is tyres. There we have Josh Morris leaving the pits. Still got Steve Everson in there and Will Thomas. He is sadly very damaged after that. We can see there, lights out on the safety car. Nicholson leading Pendlebury. Marriott's there. Nicholson goes. Oh, he's got a very good jump on everyone there. Has Marriott. Pendlebury and Palmer attempting to maintain the top line. Oh, that's Worrell high and into the barriers. Killed all this momentum there. Keeping out of the draft. He may well have engine heat trouble. That's caused that top line to fail a bit, but Slattery decides to back it. He now leads that line, taking the opportunity. Pendlebury will now tuck in behind him and see if they can get that pushing. Nicholson still leading the way here, with Chris Palmer pushing him well. Seasoned professional Marriott third in that upper row. Pendlebury and Slattery will be pleased to see him there. That top row looking like it's really starting to shift now. Slattery comes down, Pendlebury does so as well, this time not chopping off Jeff Sharp's nose. It would have been very impressive for him to do it from about 20-30 metres ahead of him, but Nicholson a little way off the back of Pendlebury's back bumper here, which will potentially be helping that top line gain some momentum. Oh, Marriott's a little bit low there. Oh, that's Dodd going to the infield. Keeps it clean. Drops back a fair few places as a result. Oh, when I'm too busy talking about someone going wide or cutting across the inside, we've had contact. That is another yellow flag situation. Oh, it's still going on. Oh dear, Nicholson up into Marriott. Marriott was already pretty badly damaged there. That will not help his situation. If we keep an eye on the number 15 car, Andy Marriott there in the middle of the field with Paul Nicholson. They, well, they seem to come together a bit. Paul Nicholson moved up a bit. Marriott was going in for the corner, but it causes chaos. So Will Thomas does well to get through there, very nearly taken out himself. Well, as suspected, one lap of green flag racing to be had. They are crammed right up behind the safety. Already a car, is it? The safety cruise liner. A more solid physics as that pulls off. As Slattery goes later than I think a lot of us were expecting there. Oh, there's death in the background. That's Will Thomas. Critical for the title there. Oh, there's all death in the foreground there. We will stick with this though, as the battle for the win is well and truly on. Slattery low, Sharp high. Sharp got Ricky Worrell backing him, Pendlebury backing Dan Slattery. What's that? I can hear it on the microphones. Just keep pushing, Mark. We'll try and hold on to it, says Slattery. Oh, Slattery gets sideways, up into Sharp. Oh, Pendlebury gets collected. I tell you what, it's all over the place. Ricky Worrell, is he going to inherit the win? Oh, it's close across the line. The top four there. Oh, and it's it's death after the line as well. It wouldn't be a NASCAR race without a crash after the line, would it? Oh, and it's more death to all. So let's take a look at that first incident just after we got going again. Now it looked like Will Thomas backed himself up a bit and let fly. Not quite cricket this tactic, and it causes carnage, as it can so often do. That takes Marriott, Morris, Thomas all out. I think now we come to the front here. Pendlebury, as per instruction, pushing Slattery around the corner. There's a hefty chunk of netcode there that gets Slattery into Sharp. And into the barriers they go. Pendlebury, Sharp and Slattery all involved there. And I'll tell you what, look at this. There's the injured drag race to the line here. It looks like Sharp's managed to win out on that one, but that was for a lowly 10th place. He was on for potentially the win there. Now keep an eye on the number 13 car. Ricky Worrell, the winner of this event, somehow makes it through there unscathed. His car certainly doesn't. There's a lot of damage there. Chris Palmer desperately trying to get his second win of the night. And after the line, everyone goes flying, but it was by 1/1000th of a second Ricky Worrell took the win there. But yes, let's take a look at the final race classification. Here we go then. Ricky Worrell by 1/1000th of a second takes it from Chris Palmer. An excellent night from Chris Palmer, the top scorer on the night with a first place and a second place. Steve Everson rounds out the podium positions. Chris Hulse with his second fourth place of the night, and Brian Dodd also with his second fifth place of the night. Some good consistency from those two. Jamie Nicholson then came home in 6th place with Axel Edwards in 7th. Paul Nicholson came home in 8th, and crucially Lord Pendlebury came home in 9th. That gave him the 2 points that he needed to match and leapfrog Will Thomas for third in the championship. Jeff Sharp then came home in 10th for the final point position. We then have Dan Slattery in 11th with Anthony Marriott in 12th. Will Thomas came home in 13th and Josh Morris in 14th. Well, there we go then. Another fantastic season in the Evolution Sim Racing League. But one man and one man only was in a class of his own. Mr. Dan Slattery, our champion, with 408 points, 11 wins to his name. That is, well, it's got to be a record in Evolution Sim Racing, that number of wins. We have established it's not a record points total, but let's not agitate him too much, otherwise he'll go after that points total next season. We then have Jeff Sharp consolidating that second position, finishing on 282 points. One of the big battles of the day was between Lord Pendlebury and Will Thomas, and Pendlebury takes it by 1 point, coming home third on 237 with Will Thomas on 236. Jamie Nicholson was also involved in that battle, but bad luck throughout those final 2 races just meant he couldn't quite capitalise. He finishes 9 points back in 5th. Then a bit more of a gap back to the battle of Chris Prime, and Chris Hulse is the Prime for this season. 188 points to him, despite Chris Palmer's excellent results tonight of 1st and 2nd place. Chris Palmer finishing 38 points further back on 150. Ricky Worrell, a respectable points total for someone that only joined the series around the halfway point. He's on 113 points, very lonely there. Paul Nicholson then headed up the next big battle of the evening for that 9th, 10th and 11th places between himself, Brian Dodd and Axel Edwards. Again, just 1 point in it. 74 points for Paul Nicholson, Brian Dodd on 73. It unfortunately wasn't the night for Axel Edwards. Admitted himself that ovals are not quite his thing, not sure what he's doing, and that has meant that he has finished 11th in the championship. Josh Morris comes home in 12th, again another point in it. It's tight throughout the standings apart from the winner obviously, but Josh Morris beats Steve Everson by 1 point, taking 12th over Steve Everson in 13th. Stephen Lacotta in 14th, then Anthony Marriott jumping up a few positions to 15th after tonight's races. He finishes on 20 points. Nelson Verdier then finished in 16th with Martin Rigby and Travis Dorado sharing 17th place. Well, thank you very much for watching the videos this season. We will have a few weeks off now, but we will return for another season of Evolution Sim Racing. As said at the start of the video, if you would like to get involved, then please do. You can follow that Discord link. The Discord link is also in the bottom in the description of this video. It's not quite in the bottom, that's not the way to put that. But yes, come and join us. But for now, ciao.